Hey everybody, I'm Bryan McWhite, CEO and Director of Agent Relationships with JP Woolman Realty, here this morning with Sarah Bahr, who just had your 1-year anniversary with us.
I did.
1-year anniversary of being in real estate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we were just talking before we started about how you came on and pretty much got a client right away. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to hear that story.
Yeah.
Like, what did that feel like?
Yeah, I came on and, initially as a new agent, you're trying to establish everything, and then I got a client right away, and I wasn't even on the MLS yet, so I was trying to hurry up and just figuring out how to make an MLS search. So that was kind of a fun memory in hindsight.
Frantically calling people.
Yeah,
how does this work?
like, help me set this up. Yeah, so it was just no better way to train, though. Hit the floor running.
Yeah. So I want to hear a little bit about what you were doing before real estate, and then how you ended up taking the turn into real estate.
Yeah, I did a lot of things before real estate. So when I got into real estate during COVID, and it's kind of funny because when I graduated from college, I jumped in during the recession, and I went into a sales position. So great timing.
All right.
But really wonderful to learn through adversity. So I bounced around. I've got a background in sales, event planning. I've done some administrative work. 9 years ago, I started investing in residential real estate, and I manage rental properties. So I did that while I stayed home with my kids. So I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 6 years prior to getting into real estate, which I feel there is no better training that aligns to real estate because
interesting.
It's all on you.
Yeah.
There's no stop-start.
Yeah.
It's completely up to me of how I structure it, of what you're going to get out of what you're doing, being a stay-at-home mom. And again, it's all about mindset.
Yeah.
And about your support system. So I feel like it just has really prepared me in that way, because when you get into real estate, it's just a really loose-ended world. Yeah. And you have to be in control of that. So,
that's a really interesting perspective. Mm-hmm. You were saying before we started that since COVID has started, I mean, all of us are just kind of trying to survive. What has it been like to try to be a full-time stay-at-home mom and a realtor all at the same time during COVID?
Right. Yeah, I joke because the reason of when I transitioned into doing this is my kids were getting a little older. I have 3 children. 2 of them were in school full-time, and my youngest is a huge social butterfly. So I said, what perfect time for her to get into daycare and get into that social piece of it. So I had all of that established. And then COVID hit, and then my kids have been home most of the time. And it's just funny because, we can plan as much as we want, but there's always things in life that you just have to change and maneuver around. So yeah, I made it, I think, 4 months, and then I did a full 180, and I said, well, there went that idea.
Yeah.
But, it's just planning and leaning on your support again. Thank goodness for my husband that he's been able to really jump in, because as in real estate, there's a lot of nights, weekends, and just knowing that I can rely on him to keep, the home front going. Yeah. And just giving yourself grace and having patience and knowing that everyone's going through this. Yep. Like what we were talking about, kids are resilient, and neither though I'm not giving them as much attention maybe at certain times throughout the week as I would love to, but they've learned to be more self-sufficient and, finding their own things to do instead of so much of me having to drive that. So I feel like there's good things that have come out of it.
I do too. I really do. I mean, I'm like we were talking about, I'm a single dad, and I've had to try to navigate, being at home for them and working at the same time during COVID as well. And, I think that as parents sometimes, especially in our culture, we get this idea that we're responsible, or it's somehow on us to figure out what they're doing every second of every day. Mm-hmm. And I think we have missed maybe that previous generations, part of parenting was you take the training wheels off and you let them go a little bit, and they figure it out themselves. And maybe one of the blessings in disguise of COVID is that it's helping us as parents teach our kids to do that.
Absolutely. Yes.
When you were considering getting back into real estate, what drew you to JP Woolman?
Yeah, so a number of things, but when I was still going to school last fall, I met with several brokerages. Actually, there were 4 total. And JP Woolman was, I think, the only brokerage that actually, when I met with you, I'm learning about the brokerage, what do you have to offer me? But it was, you really took the time to get to know me. What are my goals? And, that feels good. Everybody likes talking about themselves, so I felt good. It felt like home. The culture here, I can just sense that energy when I met some of the supporting staff. You can just feel that within a brokerage. But when I was driving home after I met with you that first time, I was reflecting on the interview, and really thought, wow, how you took the time to really talk to me, get to know me, and how I feel like that maybe conveys or transcends to the other agents. Because I feel like a brokerage to the agents is maybe how an agent to client relationship, right? It's a people business. So I feel like that's something that, is a culture here, because we are in a relationship business, and neither though there's bells and whistles and funnels and systems that other places have to offer, just like I could to my clients too, and do have available. It really comes down to the people and surrounding yourself with good people. So that, that's what really drew me in.
Oh my gosh. You couldn't have given an answer that makes me feel better than that. Because JP Willman, of course, we pride ourselves on our tech offerings, we pride ourselves on our digital marketing, we pride ourselves on our coaching, of course, which I want to hear a little bit about as well, because you've done the Engage program. But if we aren't about loving our agents and supporting our agents and knowing our agents the same way that we advocate for you to love and know and serve your clients, what are we doing here? So
exactly,
that's really
spot
good to hear.
on. And the marketing, I'm a marketing major, so that having a dedicated marketing staff was very appealing and attractive to me as well.
It's very uncommon in the industry.
It is.
Our people are so good. So I want to ask you a little bit about the coaching program, because you were one of the first people through the formal coaching program that we call Engage with Josh Champ. So tell me a little bit about your experience and why it was valuable to you on the front end of your career.
Right. So valuable.
Good.
Again, I am...
I don't want to presume it was valuable.
Oh, it was so valuable. Right. I am a person that wants to know it all, like I had said, so it was very intimidating to start out and thinking, oh, I've got this first client, but I don't know, I've never been through it. And it really took the edge off to have a coach that was just there, ready to, if I ever have questions, come across a situation where I really don't know what what the right answer is, just to have somebody that at my complete disposal that I could call. And the availability was fantastic too. It wasn't something you email in the morning and maybe you hear back. It was very quick getting back. So you just felt like you're working together through that. So it really gave me that confidence. And also I really appreciated that when I was going through those first transactions, coming to a situation, even though I could have most likely gotten through it just fine, if I came through a situation where I wasn't 100% sure, but it was wonderful to be able to call somebody and say, what would you do? Or what have other agents, or can you give me some advice? It was just training on steroids, in my opinion, at that point. Really enriching, and I feel like it just exponentially got me to a place, working through those and just asking the questions through it, whether, you probably could have done it on your own, but just taking that time.
It seems like most realtors, they kind of muddle through their first few transactions, which is fine, but I know that Josh Champ in particular he so values responsiveness. He wants to get back to his the people he coaches really, really quickly. And knowing that you're doing it right with those first few clients is so valuable, I think, because especially when you're first starting out, all of your next transaction is embedded in the transaction that you're doing.
Yes.
And so you got to take care of those first few transactions like they're your baby. So I'm glad that was valuable.
I felt like I needed that bracelet as a kid, WWJD.
Yeah, right.
What would Josh do? I would call and say, tell me how you would work through this, because this is how I'm going to, but a part that I also really appreciate with all the support staff here is that the training was so great that when I have questions, which I've had many, they didn't just tell me the answer, but they helped guide me on how to find the answer, right? Because as realtors, we need to be very resourceful in how we're doing, and it just helped gain that independence and kind of that push out of the nest, if you will. So that was really good too.
So well said. So your first year started off great. You started off on a great pace until COVID kind of came in and made a mess of all of our worlds. But what do you attribute your early success to?
Right. A number of things. Coaching, the marketing that I received, the marketing plan and the things I had in place. But really, I feel like it comes down to taking action, right? Because you can have all the resources and knowledge at your disposal, but it just came down to me and getting out of my comfort zone and just pushing past that and jumping in, and just taking action, getting out there, getting in front of people, and just being true to myself. I think that's a piece that I wanted to make sure, and why I was interested in JP Willman is that my goals and the way I do business is different than the other agents here at this brokerage. And I feel like when you can be true to yourself and your skill sets and how you get in front of people, it just naturally comes in, and it's just a good base too to grow upon, because I don't feel like I'm going to hit burnout of trying to be something different. It's just very naturally on who I am.
So you make it sound so easy.
Yeah.
You just got to brush. You just got to get out there. You just got to meet people. You just got to do it. And I'm always telling people, you just got to swing the bat. Don't be afraid of striking out. You just have to swing the bat. Did you find it difficult to make headway in your sphere of influence? Like, I'm a real estate agent now. This is what I'm doing. Did you find that difficult, or was that pretty easy for you just because of how your personality is built? Really,
it does align with my personality. Yeah. I've always been in a support piece. I've been a part of a mom's group where I've been on the board for a long time, and that's just a support role that I've had. So I've always naturally kind of reached out to people. So that part of it was a really easy, smooth transition. Yeah. The part I think that where I pushed the comfort zone was really trying to get in front of people a little more, and just meeting with people before COVID. Yeah. But doing social media videos.
Yeah.
I was not a social media. I just said, if you were to look at my history, I'd maybe make 3 posts a year. I just was not someone that wanted to take the time to do that personally. But I felt like it was a fun, easy way, cheap, free way, I don't know, to get in front of people. And I'm amazed how that it's been well received by my sphere on social media. So I've kind of coined to that. But even like today, it's hard getting in front of a camera. But like anything, nothing in life is worth doing. Nothing easy, is worth doing. So it's just fun to push that and be challenged a little bit. And I feel like
that's a good word. I think I meet plenty of agents who are kind of like, I'm just not a social media person, and I'm sort of like, that's fine. You don't have to be a social media person, but you've never done real estate, and part of real estate for most agents is engaging in social media. So this is a new tool you can pick up. You don't have to have a long history with it to make it work for you, especially when you've got digital marketing professionals down the hall.
Right.
Who will show you exactly how to do it, and even create content for you and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And you don't have to do it. If you don't do that, you're going to have to put more time, perhaps, into a different way. Right. But that's a way that, oddly enough, it just felt natural to me. It was uncomfortable, but just get in front and say hello, and have taken the time to, I've lived in the St. Michael, Hanover area my entire life. So to me, it just felt natural to want to work with people. When we're working with people, we're trying to find them their desired homes, but it's also their desired communities. So for me, I've done giveaways to the area businesses, and it's just a way to interconnect people and to their community, and to help promote those businesses too with different giveaways. And it's been a lot of fun.
How does what you just said about how you love to serve people, how does that tie into your big why? Why do you do this? What's your big overall drive in life? Especially what are the things that get you up and doing the everyday work of real estate when you don't really want to, when you don't have the energy for it? What are those big things that drive you?
It's a big question. My why is my family, my faith. So for me to transition back into work, I like the idea that my kids see that I am working hard. I feel like that's a good trait too for your children to be able to see that mom is working. But my why too is pulling that income so that we can go and do those things as a family. We started camping more this last summer.
Good,
We've got a lot of trips planned coming up to go west and different things that way. So that's my
exciting.
Big why too, is just, it's not about, as a stay-at-home mom, I had that pivotal point that it's not the quantity of time, but it's that quality of time that we have with them. So I'm really looking forward to enriching that time with them as a family, and being able to do that, and having the freedom with real estate to be able to shift your schedule to a point too. So
real estate is going to help create new experiences for your family. Opportunity for new experiences, bigger experiences. I love that. How does your faith inform what you do? Talk about that as much as you want. I'm curious.
I don't think it's something that you check the box by attending church or live church on a Sunday. It's living it and breathing it, and cultivating that, within your family and just who you are. And
love that. In the coming year, tell me a little bit about kind of what your goals are, what you're aiming at. It doesn't have to be numbers; it can be numbers, but what are your aspirations for the coming year?
childcare. Do you know anybody? No, maybe in-person school. Like I had touched on, I'm so excited that in real estate, again, like I touched on, is that I feel like I've got a solid platform, that I've got that initial steep learning curve, drinking from that fire hose the first year. I feel like I've come off of that curve where the sky's the limit. Mm-hmm. And I just really look forward to that. The opportunity is endless. Where there's a will, there's a way. So this next year, focusing on that fine-tuning what I've already learned, becoming more efficient, that type of thing, but starting to scale it a little bit, mm-hmm. And just, it's amazing how, like you alluded to, when you do a good job and treat people well, I'm already seeing, starting to turn and getting those referrals. Yeah. So
people know they can trust you and trust your expertise, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. and that word of mouth spreads really, really quickly.
Right.
Sarah, thanks so much for having the conversation this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah.
We just so cherish you here, and the example that you've been, and the way that you drive, and your energy, and the way you want to do real estate is exactly what we're looking for at JP Willman. So it's been so good to have you here.
Yes. Good to see you in the flesh.
Yeah, exactly.
In the home office.
It's yes. Exactly. It's so good to be around people.
Yes, it is.
Well, if anyone is ever interested in coffee, lunch, breakfast, a happy hour, it's always on me to talk about JP Willman and how we serve our agents and how we try to build agents' business together with them. Particularly if you are a newer agent, if you're interested in a rigorous, very one-on-one, hands-on coaching program like Sarah experienced here, I'd love to connect you with Josh Champ and the Engage program as well. Please get a hold of us anytime.
I just had a brain fart, so you'll have to clip that.
And I'm going to burp. Excuse me.
You got to get that in the bloopers.
Yeah. Of course that's ending up in the bloopers.